Remember when you first started playing jazz drums? Maybe you came from rock, or maybe you were just following your instincts. But I'm gonna go out on a limb here and I'm gonna guess you probably did a bunch of things which, if you got with a teacher, you later learned were bad habits. They're things like playing the kick drum on 1 and 3, playing the kick drum too loudly, playing backbeats, not using the right cymbals, and any of a myriad of other things. And while it's true, a bunch of these tools were probably valuable to get us out of our old rock habits and into this new world of jazz, has anyone taken a look at them lately? Are we sure we're still not supposed to do any of that stuff? Let me tell you why I'm thinking about this. Just this morning, I stumbled across a video that my teacher John Riley made, and in it, he was playing the kick drum on 1 and 3 instead of feathering it on all 4, and it sounded amazing. Which got me thinking, what other things that we learned were taboo when we first were coming up actually sound kind of awesome? Today, 5 things we're never supposed to do in jazz drumming, which actually sound pretty cool. Stay tuned. So let's start with that first one. That first fallacy that John's excellent beat put the lie to. This is, you're never supposed to play the kick on 1 and 3. So the thing a lot of beginners do is they get in the jazz band and they want to take a rock shuffle over to jazz. So you'll see them do this like rocking back and forth thing. You know who you are. And pretty quickly we try to get away from that with things like Ted Reed syncopation, John Riley's book, etc. So we're making these more nuanced, sophisticated phrases. You never count off on 1 and 3, you always count off on 2 and 4. But my friends, I urge you to revisit the kick drum on 1 and 3. Check this out for just a second. So I think I'm committing about 3 taboos at once, right? I'm playing the backbeat. I'm playing the hi-hat cymbals on 1 and 3. You should never do that, except you should. And here's the thing, you guys can judge, but I think it sounds awesome. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in real life, if you're playing in a real jazz context, you're gonna toss that in various sections of the tune while you're improvising and juxtapose it against other things. It may be that the sax player or the piano player is playing something that you want to play against. They're playing a lot of offbeats, so you want to just hammer those downbeats. I think it sounds awesome. So maybe you can see how playing the kick on 1 and 3 could be kind of awesome. You can experiment with that a little. But number 2 is definitely something we should never do, right? Number 2, never play backbeats during a ballad. So it's the same kind of thing with the ballad, at least if you're like me. When everybody first encountered the ballad in high school, we probably played something like da 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 da. Right, big no-no, no one wants to do that. That screams high school jazz festival, doesn't it? So as we got older, we learned the art a little more, we checked out the past greats, we learned to play something like except, check out this beat. It's like a Brian Blade with Nora Jones thing. You can even do it with the sticks. 3, 4. Again, that's not something I'd pull out in every section of a ballad, but point being is all about the touch and where you use it. Is it hot in here or is it just me? Those backbeat ballads, I don't know. Anyway, for sure number 3 is something you still should never do, right? Number 3, never vary the ride cymbal with the phrase you're playing with the other limbs. So, what's the first thing every jazz teacher tells us when we start picking up the jazz a little bit? It's practice with Ted Reed, practice with John Riley, don't vary the ride cymbal. Whatever you're playing, don't vary the ride cymbal at all. And if you get caught varying the ride cymbal, it's always the old stick to the back of the ear, back to the beginning of the chapter. Right, guys? Right? You guys did that too, right? Anyway, I'm here to tell you in the more advanced circles of jazz, when you start checking out the drummers post Philly Joe, practically everyone varies the ride cymbal. And it's a little bit of a myth that, oh yeah, they vary it, but they're phrasing it independently. Not really. Small example. I wasn't thinking about keeping that independent in any way. I was completely letting it completely be dictated by what I was doing with the other limbs. Just like Mel Lewis, just like Ray Haynes, just like Tony Williams. And if you don't think I sound great, check out Max Roach doing this. He definitely sounds great. It is getting awkward in here for people who still want to cling to some of these old orthodoxies. Hopefully some of them still stand. Like number 4, you should definitely, for sure, never play jazz on a big rock kit with heavy rock cymbals, right? Well, what do you think? I mean, I think it sounds pretty good. And to the degree it doesn't, it's not because of the kit, it's just because of my playing. But I hopped on this house kit with a heavy A medium rock ride and A quick beat hats that I've reviewed before, by the way, and made nary a tuning correction. I just threw my iPhone on the heavy, ringy steel rock snare drum and I think it sounds pretty dope. I'm always suspicious of blaming the equipment. I think any piece of equipment you play that you think sounds bad, Eric Harland or Greg Hutchinson could sit down at and make sound good. And I've seen both of them do that, by the way. So I think it's time to put this myth to bed. Okay. You shot me down 1 through 4, but I've got one more that I'm quite certain you should never do, which is you should never turn the beat around. So what was the scourge of when we started to get a little bit better at jazz? We started playing tunes, we started improvising with people who would play angular phrases, play against the beat, turning the beat around. You don't want to be 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want to be that guy, except what if you do? Because the truth is, when you can keep one in your head and phrase around stuff, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Of course, it's all about the touch and the taste and playing things that'll still support the other musicians. But say you're playing a straight ahead groove with a walking bass line. Let me quickly show you exactly what I'm doing. Assume we're playing a proper jazz beat. And I'm just reorienting it. So I'm taking what was on 2 and 4 and putting it on 1 and 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And finally, if you really want to make your point, you can put the kick drum on 1 and 3 again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. plenty of situations for that. Remember, guys, it's about touch, taste, and what's appropriate for the other musicians. And that's how you get the gig. Well, look at that, I stand corrected. All of my orthodoxies I thought were gonna be ironclad. Never play the kick on 1 and 3, turns out that's BS. Never play backbeats in a ballad, turns out sometimes that's BS. All the way up to including never turn the beat around. I think we've sacrificed enough sacred cows for today, but dudes, I wanna tell you, if you feel like going deeper with me, if you've been checking out the channel for a hot minute, you feel like maybe you're ready to study with me, I recommend my course, the 80/20 Coaching Course, which is like 3 to 6 months of studying with me, all for around the price of a single lesson. But we only open it up a couple times a year, and we only open it to people on my exclusive mailing list. But Nate, you're saying, how do I get on that mailing list? I can't just jump on the mailing list, right? Oh, but you can, my son. It is as simple as clicking the link below this player, entering your email address on the next page, clicking that beautiful purple submit button, and kablooey, you'll be on my list. And for your troubles, I'm gonna send you 3 free videos, which will make your playing better in the next 3 weeks than it's gotten in the previous 6 months. Dudes, it's been real. Always enjoy these. Hope you dug this lesson. See you again in another lesson of the week. Should never turn the beat around. I need to get the brushes, unless he has some brushes. Oh yeah, he does. Hell yeah. Here's another one. You should never play junked out Vic Firth brushes, except you should. Matt Wilson plays Vic Firth, like the stiffest Vic Firth brushes. They sound so good. Let's see if I can make these sound halfway decent. Of course I can. I'm a veteran.